Well, good morning. My name's Richard. Welcome to Garden by the Yard. You know, it's not quite the middle of April 2025. Sorry about the voice. I've been sick for the last couple of days. But before I get to go into work this afternoon, I need to get this landscape fabric laid down and get the garden kind of evened up, and I'll show you what I'm talking about so I can get my cabbage plants in. Give me just a minute and I'll take you into the garden. Well, I had to roll up this landscape fabric. I put it down, I think about 3.5–4 years ago. And I wanted to roll it up and just till underneath it and put some fertilizer down. And my cabbage is probably going to go in somewhere right in here. And what I'm going to do is take a rake, and you can see where I tilled and my footprints are. I'm just going to kind of even that out. And then I'm going to take this landscape fabric and roll it back out. All I did was roll it up to the end and then run the tiller over it. I'll be right back with you. Well, I just wanted to give you a quick look before I start putting down the landscape fabric. I put some fertilizer down, and I also put all of my wood ash from the house stove and also the shop stove into the garden and tilled it all in and got it as flat as I could. I wasn't looking for perfection, but I'm going to get this landscape fabric down, and I'll give you another shot of that. Well, I got a little bit of it down. It's a little bit windy today. It was. I had to get some firewood and put it down as I was putting the fabric down. But this would have been a lot easier with 2 people. Guys, that's going to do it for me today. I've got to take a couple hours off and rest before I go into work. But tomorrow I'm going to come out here and finish putting the landscape fabric down and possibly put out some cabbage plants. Depends on how much that wears me out. I'll see you tomorrow. Well, good morning. It is a Saturday morning. My name's Richard. Welcome to Garden by the Yard. Friends, family, we are going to be planting some cabbage today. I got the landscape fabric laid down. Still have 1 or 2 more pieces to put in, but the bulk of it is done. And I'm going to show you my process for putting cabbage in. And let me get this switched over. So as you can see, got the cabbage plants laid out, and I got to tell you, they are looking really good this year. Nice and healthy. Got a good green color to them. And I've got most of the landscape fabric laid out. I've still got this section right here that I've still got to lay out, and a couple of pieces over in the corner, just small pieces. This row that I'm taking you down right now, this is usually where I put my beans. And that's why I've got so many holes in this fabric, because I plant them really close together. But this tool that I use, and I found that Kevin and Sarah off of Living Traditions Homestead, and I'll put a link in the description column, but this little tool has saved me so much labor, and I'm going to show you how I use it and to put the cabbage plants in. So give me just a minute. This tool has really been a time saver for me. If I just take it, put it in the hole, and I go about 4 to 6 inches down. Sometimes you hit a rock. I got to tell you, this thing beats using a little shovel, hand shovel. Saves a lot of time. I can go right down this row, and I can have all of these plots done in probably about 20 minutes, and I'll be right back with you. To get the holes where I need them in the fabric, if there's not one there, I just use a little butane torch. And what it does, it melts around it, but it keeps it from fraying because this is a woven fabric. and it will just unravel. And let me show you what I do. Nice and simple. Well, all I do, take the plant out of the pot, put it in my hand. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's got a very good, nice root system. They've only been in these pots about 8 days, so they haven't had time to fill out completely, but I got roots all the way to the bottom of the plant. I plop it into the hole, and then I backfill and kind of push the dirt in around the plant. And I keep this here because sometimes, believe it or not, you don't have enough dirt. And how that works out, I have no idea, but I know it happens to me every year. You would think I'm adding dirt, and the dirt that I took out, there would be more than enough to go back in, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And there it is. After I get done and I get all these plants in, I'll bring you back as soon as I get the plants in. But once I get done, I take the hose and I water everything in really well. Now we're going to be putting my drip irrigation back in. I had to take it up because I rolled this fabric up in order to be able to till in some fertilizer. And once I get these plants in, I'm going to go ahead and rerun the irrigation system. It's just a drip tape, but I'll take you along for that ride. Well, I have got the holes drilled, and I have got the cabbage plants laid out by the holes. And all that I have to do now is get them in the holes. You know, gardening, I love it when it starts. I love being out here, but you catch me at the end of September, October, and I'm ready for it to be done. But right now, it's all joy. Let me get these cabbage plants in the holes, and then we are going to water them in. Well, here is the cabbage that I've got planted. It is planted in landscape fabric, and it is the weave type. And I am going to be putting a cloth covering over it just to keep the cabbage worms out. This material right here is used by concrete men when they're doing driveways or shop floors, just for the strength. Comes in big panels, and I just cut the panels down, and I'm going to be putting these hoops every 4 feet down the row of cabbage. And at the end of the row, I'm going to be using this tent stake, and that way I can run a piece of wire between each one of these concrete panels that I cut down to size. Give me just a few minutes to get all these set up, and I'll bring you back in. Well guys, we're going to be starting on the drip irrigation. I had to take this stuff up last fall. The reason I did was I was going to roll up the landscape fabric and till in some fertilizer. I did get that done. I've now got the drip irrigation tape laid out to where I can start putting it back into the garden. Just going to give you a quick look at this. So I laid out my tape in the yard just to see what the different lengths were. I had it in half out by my tent right back there, and I've drug it out, put it in the yard so I can get the lengths, and now I'm going to start putting it in the garden. And once I get the cabbage row done, I'll bring you back in and show you how I hooked it up. All right guys, we are back in the garden. I'm going to be changing out this hose connector that goes into the main water supply line for the drip tape tubes. And I'm going to be putting that green one right there because it has a shutoff valve on it. And I'm going to be doing it to this one and to the one right next to it. This tube is running the span of my cabbage row. And that will allow me to be able to shut this water off because usually right after I get done picking the cabbage, I still need to be watering the tomato plants, but not the cabbage row. So I am going to be putting in that valve. Let me get this spiked out, because I'm going to be taking these garden stakes. These are 8-inch stakes. And just about every 4 feet, I'm going to be not tight on the drip tape, but I'm just going to run them down loosely to try to keep it in the center of the row. I'll be right back with you. Okay, we have got the valves in, both lines. And then I took and I spiked it all the way down the row. Whenever this gets really hot in the sun, it likes to twist. And when you start putting cold water in it, it likes to twist, especially after it's heated up to 90 to 100 degrees. After these two lines are in, I am going to put the cover, the cloth cover, over the cabbage, but I've still got to do all of the other water lines running to the other rows. These I left. I didn't take this landscape fabric up, and those two I don't have to do, and the one outside of the fence I don't have to do. So I'm going to get the cover up onto the cabbage row, and I will be right back with you. Good afternoon. Hey, I want to take you down to the garden, and I want to show you the covering that I am putting over the cabbage just to keep the cabbage worms out. You know, the moth comes in, lays their egg over the cabbage, and then you get the cabbage worm, and man, they can do some destruction like you would not believe. Let me get down to the garden, and I'll get the camera back on. Okay, I have got the tent spike in on this end, and I have put up all of the hoops. And like I said, this is what concrete guys use when they're laying a sidewalk. They'll lay concrete into shops, outbuildings, and they lay that fabric down, and it helps hold the concrete together. I just bought the sheets of it because it's very inexpensive. It doesn't rust easily, and I just cut it down and made the hoops to carry the cloth. And there is the end tent spike right there. I'm getting ready to put the wire across, and as soon as I do that, then I'm going to put the cover on, and I'll be right back with you once I get the wire on. Well, I got the center wire draped between the concrete panels that I cut out. Got the cloth draped over the top of it. This really helps with the cabbage moths to where they're not able to lay the worms. Put the firewood to where the cloth doesn't blow away. This is going to do it for this week, guys. If you haven't liked and subscribed, if this is your cup of tea, please do. Next week we'll be putting in cabbage or tomato seeds into the seed bed. I will see you then. God bless you, and God bless your family.